Okay, so all that's working. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to my first ever live YouTube streaming event. Now, I've never done this before, so it could be a complete disaster or an overwhelming success, hopefully somewhere in the middle. But I suppose we'll find out in about 20 minutes which end of that scale it is. And obviously that depends on me getting all of the technicalities right in the first place. So the plan this morning is that we're going to watch a film together. Now, I normally post a film every Friday morning at 10:30, so we'll watch that one now as a live stream post, and then when it's finished, I'll be around to take questions and comments afterwards. So without further ado, let's start the film running.
It has always been a slight mystery to me why us cyclists seem to be so obsessed with coffee. Its twin brother, cake, I completely understand, but I personally have never managed to get my head around coffee. For me, it has to be tea. Tea has a whole swathe of additional health benefits, including aiding fat loss, promoting gastrointestinal health, reducing cholesterol, lowering blood pressure, and promoting healthy skin, bones, and teeth. The most common benefits that green tea is known for is its ability to help reduce fat mass, reduce muscle soreness, and assist with healthy well-being. Due to all of the health benefits surrounding green tea, it's now regarded as a superfood. Back in the day, if you were out on a club run and you asked for a green tea at the local Greasy Spoon cafe, you would have received some very strange looks, to say the least. Fast forward to now, and you can get it pretty much anywhere, along with a bewildering selection of other kinds of teas and infusions. A study published earlier this year has even claimed that regular tea drinking, particularly green tea, can reduce your risk of heart disease by up to 20% and a stroke by up to 30%. So how does it do all of this? Well, green tea leaf naturally contains B vitamins, foliates or natural folic acid, manganese, potassium, magnesium, caffeine and other antioxidants. Tea is also one of the few calorie-free alternatives to water. As we all know, staying hydrated can be a bit of an issue, particularly if, like me, you find plain water a bit dull. By drinking herbal teas, you can top up your fluid levels with something a bit more interesting. One of my favourite herbal teas is lemon and ginger, both of which have been used in traditional medicine to boost the immune system and fight infections. And if this isn't enough, it tastes really nice too. Mind you, after a cold day out on the bike, nothing beats coming back to a nice steaming mug of builder's tea and a sweet treat. My favourite at the moment are Dutch stroopwafels. Up until very recently, I was only able to enjoy their caramelly, cinnamony loveliness when I was in the Netherlands, but nowadays you can find them in pretty much any supermarket here in the UK. Unfortunately, this isn't good news for my power to weight ratio. Excellent news for my waffle to mouth ratio though. So if you found this film useful, please like and share. And if you'd like to get the most out of your cycling, please consider subscribing for my regular weekly uploads. Thanks for watching.
Okay, welcome back. Thanks for watching, everyone. Okay, so there's a little issue with the sound. Okay, so I think I know what that was. I clicked a button that perhaps I shouldn't have done, but as you probably saw, I put that right once I saw your comments. So questions and comments and things. So Julian Abbott, a spliff and a cup of tea, marvellous. Now, if I knew what a spliff was, I'd probably say, "Oh, you're a very, very bad man there." Yeah, what is the difference between a spliff and a joint? Don't know. Anyway, yes, it seems to be that we kind of like the Dutch waffles. They are very nice. Like I say, you can get them in pretty much any supermarket in the UK now. I get mine from Lidl's, yeah, my other half kind of keeps a tight rein on them when they're in the house. I'm only allowed one a day that she knows of. Yeah, I've never tried them with ice cream. It's a good idea. The normal traditional way that the Dutch eat them is by putting them over their coffee cup and then letting the heat from the coffee melt the caramel. But I find that just makes the waffle a little bit soggy, so I don't do that. Okay, so we're here. Video quality nowhere near as good as normal. No, that's because I'm using the webcam on my computer. I've been experimenting trying to get the feed from my normal cameras into the computer, and that involves some kind of box that I need to buy, that I may invest in the future depending on how these live streams go. So yes, that's the webcam for you. Don't leave them on top of the cup. No, unfortunately, Jamie, they don't hang around long enough for me to leave it on top of the cup. It's gone in about 30 seconds. Yes, very good. So here we are. So any comments about the film itself? So what about the subject matter? Am I getting a little off-piste talking about tea and things like that, even though coffee seems to be a bit of a hot subject with us cyclists? Nice first effort. Oh, okay, thank you very much, Chapel Blade. Yeah, I don't know how this is going, so yeah, I suppose we'll see once it's finished. I'm amazed that so many people have tuned in. If I just go over to the other screen for a second, I can see that 10 of you are watching. That's probably 10 more than I first thought would watch. So yeah, so where is everyone? I know, Jamie, you're up in Scotland. Mervyn, I believe you're in Kuala Lumpur, aren't you? Yeah. Chapel Blade, I think you're kind of new to the channel. I'm not sure I've seen you on here before. So perhaps you could say where you are. Yeah, anyone? Yeah, Mervyn. Yeah, the lighting. I've not put any lighting up. I've got the light coming in from um, the window over here. I will be getting some other lights up soon. I was just experimenting to see how this all went before I started getting a bit too over the top with lights and external cameras and things like that. Okay, so it seems like we're kind of all over the place. Didcot, Wiltshire, Chippenham, Tokyo. What are you doing in Tokyo? I thought you were in Kuala Lumpur, Mervyn. Yeah, I always thought, yeah, Kuala Lumpur. When I see your Stravas, it seems to be there. So yeah, that's interesting. Are you there on business or something like that? So Jamie, more of a tea drinker, yeah, but I like coffee with carrot cake. Well, carrot cake goes well with pretty much everything, I think. Yes, it's one of my favourites. I just love cinnamon. So Peter, yeah, I'm based in Hampshire, just north of Portsmouth, about 12 miles north of Portsmouth, right in the heart of the South Downs, where we have some fantastic cycle routes. Can be a little bit on the hilly side, but no, it's a nice place to be. I was in Oxford last week. I was driving back from Whitby. So sabbatical for a month, no bike. Ah, that might explain why I haven't seen you on Strava. Milk in last. No, definitely milk in first. No, I've heard that if you put the milk into the boiling water, it kind of scalds the milk, and it kind of destroys the taste. I don't know if it's just me imagining things, but I think I can actually taste it when the milk's been put in afterwards. Yeah. So how come you've not taken your bike with you, Mervyn? I would imagine cycling in Tokyo would be pretty amazing. Yeah? Anyone? Are we still working? Let's see how many are here. Got 13 watching. Okay. So what's your coffee of choice? Me, I don't really drink coffee. If I'm going out to a cafe, usually they don't make the tea strong enough for me. So if I'll go for hot chocolate in a cafe, but if I have to go for coffee, I'll go for a latte because it's kind of, yeah, it's not quite coffee. It's basically hot milk with some slight coffee flavouring. So Jamie, do you think you'll ever be in Scotland cycling? I have cycled in Scotland once before. I did a job in Glasgow, in a studio in Glasgow, and they put me up in a hotel in, what's the name of that place? Paisley. And I took my bike up there with me, and I rode out, oh God, one of the seaside towns. It was a great place to ride, and I've ridden. I went up to Scotland, God, 2014 with my bike again, and I rode along the road that runs along Loch Ness. Fantastic! It was absolutely beautiful. I wish I had. Maybe you could hire a bike. I would imagine Japan's fairly easy to get hold of a hire bike. Yeah. Peter Payne, Earl Grey or English breakfast? English breakfast if I'm making it myself. Yes, then I can make it nice and strong. Earl Grey is a bit sort of wishy-washy. It's all right. Needs some milk in it. No, you don't need milk in it. That's the thing. You need lemon in it. That's the thing. Now, as far as I'm aware, Earl Grey was named after some chap who lived in Hull, and I lived in Hull for a little bit while I was at university. So, yeah, there's a little piece of trivia for you. What's a good Earl Grey brand? I don't know, I suppose Twinings, one of the big tea companies. Yes, it seems to be a lot of tea talk. So let's try and bring it back to cycling. So where is everybody's kind of favourite cycling routes? Do you have a route that you ride fairly regularly? Yeah. So where does everyone ride? Anyone? Let's just see how many are here. Do I think I'll be ready, fit for Mallorca? That's a good question, Jamie. I've not really ridden this week. I went out on, when was it? Day before yesterday, so that was Wednesday, and I did do quite a hard ride, and I was quite pleased with myself, but I could tell that I'm not quite there yet. So um, I need to do some more rides and just sort of consolidate my fitness. What I might do at some point is just look at my Strava, see how many kilometers I've ridden since you know, over the last couple of months or so. My normal kind of base mileage is about 1,500 kilometers, and then once I've ridden that, then I know that I'm kind of halfway fit, and then I can start working on things like strength and endurance. Peter, my favourite hill to ride is Bannerdown Hill in Bath. Um, yeah, I can kind of imagine that that it's quite hilly round there, and there's some pretty major climbs. I've driven over there, um, and yeah, it's. I just get the feeling it's very hilly. So when am I doing another 100 kilometres? Well, at the moment, my plan is to ride up to London from where I live here in Hampshire, and that's going to be about 110 kilometres. So I'm planning to do that maybe early July. I know after the Isle of Wight randonnée that I can, without doubt, ride 100 kilometres. So yeah, I can give that a go early July. So if anyone's around for that, or if anyone wants to join me, just keep an eye on the social media pages, and I'll post details there. And yeah, hopefully get loads of you along to ride. Okay, Peter, so it's absolutely brutal. I'll have to look it up on Strava, that hill. Although I know when you see a hill on Strava, it doesn't quite look as bad as it does in real life. Stick to Ayrshire, lots of country roads here, feels a bit safer. Yeah, I can imagine that. I think back in the day I used to ride, I had no fear riding on things like dual carriageways and things like that, but nowadays the thought of doing that does sort of fill me with a little bit more fear. So I'm a lot more reluctant to ride on the bigger roads. Fortunately, where I live, there are plenty of smaller roads, and a lot of them don't really have traffic on. So that's basically where I ride now. Mervyn, you doing with mates or solo? I assume you're talking about my my London ride. No, well, at the moment it looks like I'm doing it solo. I've got a few people that I can ask if they want to come along, and they're probably likely to say yes. But like I say, if anyone's watching or following the YouTube channel would like to join me, then they're very welcome to do so. And now that I've sort of learned how to do kind of live streaming, I might even do some kind of live stream reports as I'm doing the ride. So where are we? Just see, yeah, 12 watching so far. Yeah, that's very true. Do you ever do any organised rides like sportives? I've done a couple. I did one for, we've got a local hospice called the Rowans, which is just a bit down the road a little bit, and they organise a kind of a sportive every September, October time, and I've done that one. But they do a lot of Wiggle ones from where I live. Wiggle, although it's an international company all over the world, it's based literally 6 miles down the road. Their head office is just down the road. In fact, before they were Wiggle, they were, I believe, a little bike shop called Butler's. And I went in there and I bought my first ever pair of cycling shoes from them. And obviously now they've sort of, they're an international massive cycle retail company and organise lots of sporties. But to my shame, I've never done a Wiggle sportive, even though they start on my doorstep, probably right past my house. Yeah, well, I think for me, I think it's a little bit too much to pay £30–40 to do a ride on what is essentially a public road. Maybe that's me just being a bit tight-fisted. I don't know, but yeah, I could always join in and join the ride after the start and not pay for it. That's a bit naughty, isn't it? Is the London ride 100 kilometres or one? Yeah, it's only a one-way, Mervyn. Yeah, it's about 70 miles from my house up to London. Like I say, I'm going to plan to ride over Westminster Bridge and then ride to the Look Mum No Hands Cafe in Shoreditch. It looks like a fairly cycle-friendly kind of place. Yeah, I've been looking forward to kind of going there and trying it. So Jamie, do you think your spinning class helps your cycling? I'm convinced it does, actually. It's a very controlled way of getting my heart rate up and working on specific elements of my fitness. So I think going out and riding on the road is very good for just your general cardiovascular system and just keeping your your heart rate going. But when I do spinning, I can work on things like strength and do things like aerobic intervals to get my FTP up a bit. I did the Wiggle Y Valley Warrior, probably the best ride I've ever done. The atmosphere is insane. Yeah, I've driven along the Y Valley from, is it Ross on Wye? And it was like the autumn. The weather was beautiful, the trees and everything. It was amazing. I can imagine that Y Valley Warrior was some ride. Yeah. Again, I've not really ridden a sportive, so I wouldn't know what the atmosphere is like. That's a nice ride. Yeah, Mervyn, I wish you could come too. Be fantastic. It's a long way to go though, just for a ride. So spinning or turbo? I think spinning is very close to doing a turbo session. You can obviously listen to your own music when you're doing a turbo session, and you kind of do it at your own pace. And yeah, you can structure your own workout. But the thing I like about the spinning class is the discipline of it. I know I have to be at the gym at 6 o'clock on a Monday evening, 10 to 7 on a Tuesday evening. Somebody sat down and they've thought very carefully about the structure of the class that we're going to do, and it's all planned out for me. And plus having everybody else there, you kind of get a little bit competitive and you want to kind of keep up and just do the workout as best you can. So advise suggestions for someone wanting to get into training with power. I think the procedure for training with power is you have to do an FTP test. And I'll put my hands up now and say I've never done one personally, but I understand they're quite hard. And that will set your basic kind of numbers, and then it's all a percentage and of that ultimate FTP number. And then I think it's just a question of buying an appropriate power meter. I think they're usually attached to the cranks. You buy some specialist cranks. They're not cheap. I think they're getting to about £700–800. But I've recently downloaded an app that claims to be a fairly accurate power meter that you can use with your Ant Plus sensors, so your cadence sensor and your speed sensor, and you don't need anything more apart from the app as well. So I might do a review for that in due course on the channel. So Jose Miguel Heran, are you going to do Sacalobra in Mallorca? Well, the plan is I would like to do Sacalobra. I've said that every time I've gone out there. I've stood at the top of the climb and looked down and thought, oh my God, that's a long way down. It really is. It's a mixture of fear and awe when you get there. And again, to my shame, I've always kind of chickened out. But I'll see how I go this time. I'd like to say that I'll be fit enough in September when we go out there. And possibly, yes, I would like to do it. And Jamie, it might be the day that you're joining us. So if I do it, you can do it too. Have a look at audax.co.uk for cheap sportives if you're into that sort of thing. Yeah, I did an Audax ages ago. We've got a group here that organised them, and in fact, I did my first ever 100-mile ride on one of these Audaxes, and they were absolutely fantastic, really well organised. We rode from a place called Denmead out to a place called Popham, which there was like an airfield there, and there was a little cafe, so we stopped at the cafe, and then we turned around and came straight back to Denmead. So the round trip was about 100 miles, and it was really well organised. So do I have any KOMs? I think I did have a KOM once, and that was on one of the roads, on a road from a place called Rowlands Castle up to Horndean here, and it's a very, very slight incline. It's probably 3 or 4% for about let's see, it's about 3 kilometres, and I think I held the KOM for about 3 weeks or so. It's a road that not many cyclists go on, and then I had an email telling me that somebody had taken it from me. Yeah, Jamie, I look forward to it too. We've got some slight complications with our bikes at the moment, so obviously that won't affect you. I need to sort some things out about our bikes, but no, I look forward to seeing you out in Mallorca. George Pedden, what gearing are you planning to use in Mallorca? Well, like I've just said to Jamie, we've got some issues with the bikes. Up until now, I thought we were getting some hire bikes from a company. That still may happen, but if all else fails, then I'll probably be taking my Trek out there, and that's got a compact chain set on the front. I can't remember the exact gearing on the back, but it's fairly low. So obviously, with me being fairly gravitationally challenged, I do need the lower kind of gearing. When if we get the hire bikes, hopefully I'll be able to tell them that I'd like some at least a compact on there. So yeah, if not, it's going to make the mountains a little tricky for me. Somebody did comment on one of my films this week about a new Shimano rear cassette that I think it was 1130 on the back, and I did look it up, and I think it's actually a mountain bike cassette. I need to do a bit more research, but if I can get that onto my Trek, that would probably help me quite a lot. The problem with the Trek is that it's 11 speed, and maybe this 1130 cassette is only a 10 speed or something like that. Okay, so where are we? We've got 16 people watching. That's absolutely amazing. So has anybody else been out to Mallorca? And if you have, whereabouts do you stay? And what are your thoughts about riding in Mallorca? Anyone? Now I've been out to Mallorca quite a few times. The first time was in 2003 with the club, and it was very intimidating, I have to say, going and just seeing the mountains. and plus at the time I was riding a really heavy old bike, but it was good fun. I did the other big climb on the island, which is the Puig Mayor. Now that's off the top of my head, I think it's about 20 kilometres, with an average gradient of about 6-7%, and I did find that a little tough. So that was 2003. So getting on for 15 years ago. Obviously, I was a lot younger and a bit lighter in those days. So yeah, I might struggle up there today if I was to do it, but we'll see. Lots of videos on YouTube relating to changing cassettes to 1132. Blimey, in 1140, yeah, that's got to be a mountain bike cassette, I would have thought. Yeah, I think if I put an 1140 on there, it would. I might need to get some kind of, I don't know, adapter or something. I don't know. You can definitely run mountain bike cassettes on a roadie. All right, thanks, Peter. That's good to know. A friend of mine is currently running 1132, no problem. Oh no, that's very interesting. I'll go and speak to some chums of mine. I've got a friend who's a bike mechanic, and he'll know for sure whether I can do that. The cassette itself, I looked it up. It's not desperately expensive. It's like 50 quid, and if it's just a question of, well, I'd obviously need a new chain if I was to put a new cassette on the back as well. So yeah, but it would certainly help my spinning going up the steeper climbs. If you want to go up to 1130, that's what I was thinking. You need a long cage rear derailleur. That's what I was thinking. And once we start getting into things like that, I think it starts to get a little bit complicated, especially on the Trek, because the Trek's Di2, so that might not be an option, unfortunately. Yeah, a longer rear cage is a must. As I say, that might be a little bit complicated with a Di2, because it's a very sort of specialist kind of rear derailleur, and they might not even do those. Do you have any plans for more maintenance videos? I wouldn't say no. I think the problem with the maintenance videos is that I think I've kind of done it. I think that maintenance kind of falls into two categories. There's stuff that you can do yourself at home, and then there's stuff that you should really take it to a bike shop and have done. As far as I know, I've kind of covered all of the stuff that you can do at home, unless anybody's got any suggestions. So it's all the basics that I've covered. Things like, repairing punctures, changing inner tubes, adjusting your headset, tightening that up, adjusting your gears, adjusting your brakes. So it's kind of the basic stuff that I've covered. So that's how I came. Okay, I think that's how a lot of people first came across the channel. Yeah, maintenance. People need to know how to do basics on their bike, and yeah, it was there. It's a power meter. So George, yes, I have considered investing in a power meter. Like I say, I've just downloaded this app. It's called Fit IF. I think it's about £8 or something from the iTunes store. I don't know if it's available for Google Play. I've yet to try it out, but like I say, it's a power meter app that works on your smartphone, and it works in conjunction with your existing sensors. So if you've got an ANT plus cadence sensor, an ANT plus speed sensor, as long as it kind of can connect with Bluetooth as well. A lot of the new sensors are both, they're ANT plus and Bluetooth, and it will connect to your smartphone, and then you can measure power with the Fit IF app. And they claim that the power measurements are fairly accurate. What do you think of GCN? They have shed loads of videos covering a huge range of topics. They do. GCN's a very good channel, I think. The films are quite professional. I can see that they've got several people working on them. They're massive, aren't they? Millions of subscribers. The films get hundreds of thousands of views within, hours even. They do. They have loads of videos covering a huge range of topics. I think my target audience is slightly different. I think GCN is aimed mainly at the kind of the roadies who race, and my channel is aimed more at people kind of our age who ride for fun and do sportives and things like that. So I have had a look. I have to admit I'm not subscribed to GCN, and whenever I do a search for kind of anything cycling related, they're always there at the top, and I will watch them. And they're, like I say, they're very well made. So, anyone else? How many do we have? We've got 15 people watching. So yes, I think going back to Jamie's comment about the maintenance videos, I would make some more. Perhaps if you could sort of say what sort of maintenance issues you're having, and then hopefully I can kind of make some of those videos. Do you watch cycling on TV? I do. I've just been watching the Giro d'Italia, and that was really exciting. I was really rooting for Yatesy, and then, well, I don't want to give any spoilers away, but it was quite a surprise in the end. No, I really enjoyed that, and of course I'll be watching the Tour de France when it's on TV, the beginning of July. Going next bank. Oh right, yeah. So Richard, are you going to Mallorca for the first time next Maybank holiday? So that's in a year's time. Hopefully the weather will be absolutely fantastic. I've been out there myself in May and got horribly sunburnt. Don't necessarily need a long cage. You can get a little breath. Okay. Again, I'm going to have to look into that. A road link. I think it's called a longer chain. Okay. Yeah. I think I really will have to look into that. Speak to my chum Steve, and he'll be able to. He'll know a lot more about it than I will. Fantastic. So I think that's probably about all we have time for. So I think it's probably time to call it a day there. But thank you for everybody for watching, and thank you for tuning in. And hopefully you can join me next time when I do my next live stream. So thanks for watching.